Let's listen in as Heather Volchko and Waddell Hamer discuss high leverage practice number 3, how to collaborate with families to support student learning and secure needed services.
Welcome to A Little TLC, the podcast where we explore the dynamic world of education. Join our host, Heather Volchko, as this season we focus on high leverage practices, known as HLPs. Each episode will examine a different HLP, an essential strategy designed to enhance teaching and improve outcomes across various educational settings. These practices focus on collaboration, assessment, social, emotional, behavioral support, and instruction, benefiting all K-12 students. I hope you're ready to be both challenged and inspired because this season is all about mastering the HLPs. This is A Little TLC.
Collaborate with families to support student learning and secure needed services. Teachers collaborate with families about individual children's needs, goals, programs, and progress over time, and ensure families are informed about their rights as well as about special education processes like IEPs and IFSPs. Teachers should respectfully and effectively communicate considering the background, socioeconomic status, language, culture, and priorities of the family. Teachers advocate for resources to help students meet instructional, behavioral, social, and transition goals. In building positive relationships with students, teachers encourage students to self-advocate with the goal of fostering self-determination over time. Teachers also work with families to self-advocate and support their children's learning.
For this high leverage practice, we are talking about collaborating with families to support student learning and secure needed services. This week, I've got Waddell with us. He is one of our school social workers, and he does some really phenomenal work both with students and their families just to try to kind of move them in that more whole direction. It's bigger than just academics. There's a whole bunch of other things that go in with it as well. So Waddell, for you, what does it look like to collaborate with families in your practice?
It looks many different ways, whether we're talking about like you meet with the kiddo, you meet with the kid in private in sessions or whatever. But there's a definite understanding that no matter how much you meet with the kid, I'm only seeing the kid once a week for about 45 minutes at a time. And at the end of the day, the kid has to go home to the family and to the environment that is causing them issues. So it would behoove you to work with the full family and work with the full picture in order to see sustaining change. So for us, that looks like obviously family therapy sessions, whether it's the kid and the parent, the direct parent that's involved, or it's the whole family. I've done it with siblings or whatever, and that's important. There's other programs like we have what's called life skills clinician that also work with the families as well. And we kind of tag team together, like the therapist and our life skills clinician does work in the community a little bit more as well. It can look like we have a program called Wraparound, wraparound program that I was a wraparound facilitator for a couple of years before I became a therapist. And that's even more so like looking at the whole picture of not just the client, but the client and the parents, the client and the siblings or whatever. It's looking at the whole picture. Wraparound, I feel, is even more designed to get at when you think of Maslow's hierarchy of needs or whatever. You think about like food, shelter, and clothing and stuff like that. Like wraparound program is even better designed to try to attack some of those needs as well. But again, with the whole idea of trying to look at the whole family as a whole in its totality. So those are like some of the ways that what it looks like for us to work with the whole family.
Yeah, those are really neat examples because it's not just the parent. It's not just, right? Like you're talking about community, you're talking about siblings, you're pulling in all of these different angles. And yeah, I'm familiar with Wraparound as well. And like there is some really cool work that can come out of that. It's definitely more intentional, or I don't know that I would even say intense. It's just bringing more components to the table than what typically schools do. So I love that you're bringing that up because, good gracious, yes, it hits all of those boxes when you're talking about Maslow. Yeah, and families are more than just a nuclear unit. So,
Absolutely, absolutely. I feel like not enough program because like when you get into wraparound, it's usually like they always say it's like the last
mhm.
line of defense before a residential or juvenile or something like that. But like in reality, that kind of work is needed for almost every family.
Yes. Yes.
No one exists in a vacuum, and families and kiddos definitely don't exist within a vacuum. And you have to like it's imperative. It's kind of like you have to consider the whole picture. You have wraparound, but like I said, it's for like that quote unquote really, really problem child or whatever. But like when in reality, I mean, that's why I love family therapy sessions.
Mm.
No, I always tell whenever I get a parent in there, I always say, I'm not a parent. I'm not about to sit up here and tell you how to be a parent. Like, don't think of this as like a hire me being the expert looking down. Like, this is a teamwork. This is
Mhm.
collaboration. Like, I can see your kid for 45 minutes, but at the end of the day, you know your kid a lot better than I do. I need you for us to work together to figure out how to help. And like, that has to be a collaborative like thing with the families. So
Yeah, but you're respecting their knowledge, their expertise, their experience,
100.
regardless of if it's, what we would maybe want or hope for. Sometimes, there's definitely discrepancies there. But I think to honor it regardless, like that is so necessary. In a couple weeks, I'm gonna talk with Chris about how to like report evaluation results in meaningful ways. And one of the things that I've learned that I do weird in my practice is when I'm reporting out my results, I'm always asking, is that matching with what you see? Is that how you're experiencing it? And like getting the family gut check to say, like, am I really describing your kid here? And sometimes it's yes, sometimes it's no, right? Like it shows up differently in school than it does at home or whatever. But just asking that question, I have learned is different than most folks when they're just reporting out results of like, here's what I ran, here's what I got, here's what it means, move on with life. It's more like, well, yeah, here's what I ran and here's what it means, but does that match? Does that fit to what you see?
And that's trying to combine the qualitative versus quantitative. It's trying to
Yes.
like I hate that I said versus because like it
Yeah.
should be both and.
I know. I'm a hardcore mixed methods. So
You can have all the numbers and have all the data all you want, but at the end of the day, is it really helping? Like, is that what the family is seeing? Is that what the family needs? Like, and they're the experts. Families are the experts. We're just here to, like I said, collaborate, work. Let's work together or whatever. But at the end of the day, the families are the experts, and that's how can we work together.
So then how do you partner with families, that are frustrated? Maybe they're just kind of like giving up in the whole situation, like, "Yeah, I know, I hear this a million times, I don't know what to do," right there, and they're just kinda like, "This young person is just gonna live their life." How do you partner with families that seem to have sort of either given up or lost hope, to really bring them back in and reposition them in the way that we're describing them right now?
Very patient,
Yes.
very, very, very patiently. And you have to have like grace and understanding because you often have like where they're naturally pitted against each other and they're naturally pitted into this fighting. So you go in there, you be very intentional. Like, look, I'm not here to be a part of your triangle. I'm here to help. I'm here to let's figure out how we can collaborate together and work together to figure this stuff out. You have to be open, you have to be genuine, and you have to be very patient and understand, like, yeah, this parent is fed up. I get it.
Mhm.
This kid is probably fed up. I get it. And you just go in there and be like, all right, how try to be the voice of reason within the room and you try to be like, okay, how can we work together? I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. Clearly, it's not getting us anywhere. How can we work together? And don't get me wrong, it's easier said than done. And Lord knows I done messed up my fair share of times or whatever. But you have to go in there with like grace and understanding. Very patiently is how you do it.
Yeah, because I know I usually get pulled into those teams where the team is frustrated, the family's frustrated, the kid is frustrated, like everybody's just done with each other. And that's the time that they'll like pull someone like me in. Uh, and so many times I hear from the schools, oh, that family doesn't care, or that family isn't involved, or that. And there's a lot of negative commentary that circle the school's perspective of the family, which isn't helping, but sometimes it's also not wrong. And so part of that effort then is then how do I instill, hey, school team, I understand that that's exactly how it has been and that is how you're seeing it. Let's learn more. Let's ask other questions. Let's try to understand why,
Let's
because
understand why they quote unquote aren't, don't care. Let's try to
Mhm.
understand why quote unquote they're giving up. Let's try to understand like what are some of the underlying needs and issues that we're missing because we're so caught up in like this chaos, right?
yeah.
I mean, it's like when a hurricane comes or whatever. All right, we can see the hurricane, we can see the storm. Let's figure out how the storm was developed. Let's figure out
Mhm.
where the storm came from. That's going to tell us about the storm just as much as the storm itself.
Yeah. And I mean, like, for me, like right now in this little pocket of my career, I'm a behavior analyst and I look at the some of these things through function. And so if we're saying, okay, so this family doesn't care, they've given up. Well, why? Like for me, and I would frame that as kind of like, what's the function of their behavior? Quite honestly, I would even pull some of that back into what you had started this conversation with talking about Maslow. Like families, parents have their needs and then when they are having their needs met or not, then that is trickling into their experiences with their kids, with the kids' school, all those things. It is all interrelated. And so I've had some really good success with securing those services for parents, something as simple as like a local food bank or something, so that then they're not worried about their grocery bill and then they can actually, use what little paycheck they are getting for, other purposes, right? And then all of a sudden, because one burden was no longer like that was lifted, it had another way to get met. Then all of a sudden they're showing up in other ways as well. But it's seeing that big picture that it's even bigger than the kid. And that's where I know wraparound is somewhat focused on the kid, but it does take into consideration all of those factors and variables around them. For
Right.
me, some of that is then like, then how can we look at the family and how can we partner with them to get those needs met so that then they can meet the needs of their kid too.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Again, like getting back to what I said earlier, like no one exists in a vacuum. No one.
Hmm.
You have to look at the whole totality of it. So yeah, those are some of the ways that I collaborate and have collaborated with families. Do I think any of these programs or methods are perfect or foolproof? No. But do I think that it's a good start to kind of get a better bird's eye view of the situation and of the family and of the kiddo? Yes. Right. So I think that particularly working with youth, any kind of work with youth, you have to include the family. Like working with the kiddo, just the kiddo is a waste. I'm not gonna say a waste of time, but you're shooting yourself in the foot.
You can only go so far, right?
Yeah.
It's good work and meaningful work, and it absolutely means a lot to that student, to that kid, that client, but there's really only so far that one individual can go for themselves because like you keep saying, nobody exists in a vacuum.
Hopefully that answered your question.
Yeah, of course. I know you live this world. You live in this world more than probably the rest of us do. And so I was super curious to kind of hear from you where like how do you specifically work with a client yet still simultaneously serve their family and to do that in that meaningful way. Thank you so much for engaging in this conversation with me.
Absolutely, no problem.
Are you ready to choose a transformative learning journey that allows you to absorb, reflect, and apply new knowledge at your own pace? This week, it's Workshop Week. Join us for a collection of pre-recorded, immersive learning experiences designed to empower you with practical skills and moments of introspection. Our workshops are designed to be the perfect blend of structured learning and personal growth. Each session includes dedicated time for reflection and application, so you can truly internalize what you've learned. We want to invite you to head over to thresholdlearning.org, your one-stop destination for all things TLC. Here you'll find this episode's show notes and blog pairing, our entire catalog of ACE-accredited self-paced courses, an ever-expanding bookshelf of resources, and anything else we've talked about. See you there. Attention educators pursuing behavior analysis certifications. Supervision with TLC is designed for educators like you, offering remote supervision with school-based BCBAs that fits into your schedule instead of the other way around. Our supervised fieldwork approach allows you to earn your hours right in your classroom alongside your teaching responsibilities. Benefit from affordable rates, month-to-month scheduling, and comprehensive supervision, all 100% remote. Our school-based BCBAs are here to guide you every step of the way. So why switch jobs when you can stay in education and grow professionally? Explore more at thresholdlearning.org/supervision and see how we can help you succeed.
Collaborating with families to shape educational decisions, a principle firmly rooted in the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, or IDEA, is a crucial aspect of our work. As highlighted by Turnbull, Stowe, and Huerta, IDEA underscores the importance of family involvement by granting parents specific rights to participate as equal members of the IEP team. This involvement spans evaluation, placement, and the broader spectrum of special education services. But how do we make this collaboration effective? It's all about partnership. Turnbull and colleagues describe family-professional partnerships as a dynamic relationship where families, and not just parents, join forces with professionals. Together, they leverage each other's expertise and resources to make decisions that benefit students directly and support families and educators indirectly. To truly build these collaborative relationships, we need to adhere to 7 key principles of effective partnerships. Communication. Teachers and families should engage in open, honest dialogue using communication methods that suit the family's comfort level. Professional competence. Educators must be highly qualified and continuously strive to grow, setting and communicating high expectations for both students and families. Respect. Treat families with dignity, honor their cultural backgrounds, and affirm their strengths. Commitment. Go beyond the call of duty to be available, consistent, and dedicated to students' success. Equality. Recognize and value each team member's strengths, share power equitably, and focus on a collaborative approach. Advocacy. Work together with families to find the best solutions for students, ensuring that the students' needs are the central focus. Trust. Build and maintain reliability, acting in the student's best interest while sharing your vision and actions transparently with families. Incorporating these principles not only strengthens our partnerships with families, but also enhances the overall educational experience for students. By fostering effective collaboration, we are setting the stage for success in every aspect of our students' educational journeys. The sacred trust between special educators and the families of students with disabilities is vital. This relationship is not just important, it's foundational, and it must be carefully nurtured and protected. Families are often the experts on their children, offering insights that schools simply cannot obtain on their own. To truly understand and support our students, we must ensure that communication between home and school remains open, positive, and respectful. Both the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, or IDEA, and the Every Student Succeeds Act, ESSA, emphasize the importance of this collaboration. When special educators effectively partner with families, they position themselves to lead productive meetings, HLP2, and work seamlessly with colleagues to implement a strong, individualized education program, or IEP, as in HLP1. This collaboration also plays a crucial role in shaping long and short-term goals, HLP11, and in identifying the supports and practices needed within the social, behavioral, and instructional domains. In essence, when we build and maintain these strong partnerships with families, we not only enrich our understanding of our students, but also enhance our ability to create and execute effective educational plans. This collaborative approach is key to ensuring that every student receives the support they need to thrive. Teachers who effectively collaborate with families promote positive interactions between educators and families and use effective practices for communicating with families. Promote positive interactions between educators and families. Let's talk about what makes a teacher not just effective, but exceptional when it comes to collaborating with families. When teachers excel in these partnerships, they foster positive interactions that benefit both educators and families. Here's how they do it. Open and honest communication. They engage in transparent, honest dialogues with families, choosing communication methods that work best for both sides. This ensures everyone is on the same page. Professional expertise and growth. These teachers are not only highly knowledgeable in their field, but also committed to ongoing professional development. They set and communicate high expectations for both their students and their families. Respect and affirmation. They treat families with the utmost dignity, honor cultural diversity, and recognize and affirm each family's strengths. Commitment beyond the basics. They are available, consistent, and willing to go above and beyond what's expected to support their students and families. Shared power and teamwork. They acknowledge the strengths of every team member, share decision-making power with families, and focus on collaborative efforts to achieve the best outcomes. Reliability and advocacy. They are dependable, always acting in the best interest of their students, and openly share their vision and actions with families. These practices not only build strong collaborative relationships, but also create a supportive environment where both educators and families work together to ensure the success of every student. Use effective practices for communicating with families. Let's take a look at the effective practices for communicating with families, a crucial element in fostering strong educational partnerships. Here's how you can ensure your communication is impactful and inclusive. Accessible language and format. Always use language and formats that are accessible to the family. This means considering their preferred languages and communication styles to ensure clarity and understanding. Face-to-face interactions. Engage with families through planned face-to-face meetings, whether they're formal settings like IEP meetings or informal gatherings such as open houses and school events. These interactions help build personal connections and trust. Written and digital communication. Leverage written and digital channels to keep families informed. This includes sharing updates on school activities, outlining parent and student rights and responsibilities, and providing insights into student progress. Phone calls. Use phone calls as needed to discuss students' strengths, explore supports or resources, and build a more personal rapport with families. Online resources. Make use of course management systems, school websites, and classroom blogs or web pages to share relevant information and resources with families, ensuring they have access to the support they need. By employing these effective communication practices, we can create a more collaborative and supportive environment that benefits both students and their families. But it's not all on teachers to effectively collaborate with the families of their students. Here are some key tips for school leaders to effectively support teachers in their interactions with families from diverse cultural backgrounds. Assess skills and comfort levels. Begin by evaluating teachers' skills and comfort levels when working with families from various cultural backgrounds. Understanding where they stand helps in tailoring support to meet their needs. Provide cultural sensitivity training. Equip educators with the knowledge and specific practices needed for cultural sensitivity. This includes offering instruction on how to navigate and respect cultural differences in their interactions with families. Offer constructive feedback. Regularly provide feedback on teachers' performances in this area. Alongside feedback, offer pointers and opportunities for professional development to address any skills or areas needing improvement. Facilitate observations. For those who might feel less confident, arrange opportunities to observe effective models of interactions with culturally and linguistically diverse families. Seeing successful practices in action can be incredibly valuable. Support with communication tools. Ensure teachers have the necessary training, resources, and support for using school websites, course management systems, and other communication platforms. This will help them effectively engage with families and share important information. By implementing these strategies, school leaders can significantly enhance their teachers' ability to connect with and support families from diverse cultural backgrounds, ultimately fostering a more inclusive and effective educational environment. Research consistently shows that when we embrace effective partnership principles, the benefits extend far beyond just improved teacher-family relationships and shared decision-making. These principles lead to positive outcomes, both at the child level and within families. A well-established set of principles guides these successful partnerships, focusing on creating trust through communication, engaging in open, honest dialogues, professional competence, demonstrating expertise and ongoing growth, respect, honoring cultural diversity and valuing each individual, commitment, going above and beyond in support, equality, sharing power and working together collaboratively, and advocacy, focusing on finding the best solutions for students. As we implement these principles, it's crucial to honor and respect cultural diversity and varying communication styles. By doing so, we create a foundation of meaningful and effective collaboration that benefits everyone involved. We're so glad you could join us today. Tune in next time as we welcome Chris Selensky for an engaging conversation focused on high leverage practice number 4. How to use multiple sources of information to develop a comprehensive understanding of a student's strengths and needs. See you next time.
Hey, before you jump back into your busy life, consider dropping a like and follow Threshold Learning TLC on Facebook and Instagram. And if you like our show, share the podcast with your colleagues. A personal recommendation is by far the best way to promote the podcast. Let them know that they can listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere else they catch their podcasts. Just be sure to leave a rating and review on your favorite platform. You can also email us at info@thresholdlearning.org. We always enjoy connecting with fellow educators and champions for educational justice. You can find everything you're looking for at thresholdlearning.org. See you there.